When did you realize your childhood was poorer than others? For most of my childhood, I didn't actually realize we were poor. When you're a kid, your normal is just normal. Hand-me-down clothes, normal. Dinner sometimes being just rice and beans or cereal because the fridge was half empty, normal. Vacations meaning a picnic at the local park instead of trips to Disney World, totally normal. The first time I started suspecting we weren't like other families was in 3rd grade, during show and tell. A kid brought in a Game Boy Color with a stack of Pokemon cartridges. Everyone crowded around like it was the coolest thing in the world. I remember going home and asking my mom if we could get one. She smiled in that tired way and said, maybe for Christmas. But Christmas came, and instead I got a board game from the thrift store with half the pieces missing. I still loved it, but something inside me started to realize there was a gap. The real turning point came in 5th grade though. My best friend invited me to her birthday party. I remember pulling up to her house and feeling like I had walked into a movie. She lived in a 2-story home with a yard and an actual pool. Inside, there were decorations everywhere, music blasting, trays of food I had only ever seen in commercials. Her parents hired a magician. There were goodie bags for every kid stuffed with toys and candy, and she got a mountain of presents. Brand new Barbies, electronics, shiny bikes. I smiled through the whole party, ate cake, played games. But when I got home, I sat on my bed and thought about how my last birthday had been a homemade cake baked by my mom, a couple of secondhand books, and my cousins coming over to play tag in the yard. At the time, I loved my birthday, but suddenly in comparison, it felt small. That was the first time the word poor floated into my brain in connection to us. Middle school made it even clearer. Everyone suddenly cared about brands. Kids had Nike sneakers, North Face jackets, iPods. I had Payless shoes that squeaked when I walked, a hand-me-down coat from my cousin that was 2 sizes too big, and a CD player that skipped whenever I moved too fast. I laughed it off, made jokes about being retro, but inside I felt the difference. There were small humiliations too. Field trips where we had to bring money for lunch, and I'd pretend I wasn't hungry because all I had was a packed sandwich while everyone else bought pizza and sodas. Times when friends invited me to sleepovers and I made excuses because I didn't have pajamas that weren't ripped or toys to bring to share. Times I stayed quiet when kids bragged about vacations because the farthest I had ever been was 2 towns over. One winter in 7th grade, my coat zipper broke and my mom couldn't afford a new one. She safety pinned the front together and told me to wear layers underneath. I remember standing at the bus stop shivering while other kids wore brand new puffy jackets and trying to act like it didn't bother me, but it did. Moments like that stick. But the moment that really hit me, the one burned into my memory, happened in high school. We were assigned to write essays about our best summer vacation. I sat there staring at my blank paper while kids around me scribbled about cruises, beach trips, theme parks, camping adventures. My best summer memory was the year my mom saved up enough for us to get a used inflatable pool. We filled it with a garden hose and spent hours sitting in cold water, laughing, pretending it was an actual swimming pool. That was my happiest memory, and it was beautiful in its own way. But writing it down, I felt embarrassed. I ended up making up a story about going to the beach just so I wouldn't feel judged. Christmas was another reminder. I'd hear kids bragging about the mountains of presents under their trees, new consoles, designer clothes, expensive gadgets. My Christmases were 1 or 2 gifts at most, usually from Goodwill or dollar stores. My mom would always make it special with lights, music, and cookies, but I couldn't ignore the gap once school started again and everyone compared what they got. As an adult, I look back and realize my mom did everything she could. She worked double shifts, patched up old clothes, made one chicken stretch into 3 meals. She gave us love and stability even when money was non-existent. At the time, I thought we were just different. Now I understand we were poor, really poor. What's funny is that some of those poor memories are the ones I cherish most now. Playing board games with missing pieces meant we had to invent our own rules, which made us laugh even harder. Thrift store clothes meant my mom and I spent hours hunting together, turning it into a kind of treasure hunt. Our birthdays may not have had magicians or pools, but we had homemade cakes and songs that came from the heart. Still, I'll never forget those moments, sitting at a birthday party, shivering at the bus stop, faking an essay about vacations, and realizing, oh, we don't live like this. We can't live like this. Those were the days childhood innocence cracked just a little, and I understood for the first time that my family was poorer than most.